So welcome back to Outdoors with the Morgans. Got 3 deer here that have been watching me. They don't like when you talk. They can listen to an excavator running, pitching stumps into a burn pit. But once you start talking, they didn't go far. They went out there about 50 yards. But anyway, we are cooking some stumps here. I had that pile of stuff down there. It's been sitting for a couple years, and I loaded it up with that to get a good hot fire going for a while, and we'll see how well these stumps burn out. They seem to be doing pretty good. I think I put 5 in there so far. I'll come back out later this evening, you know, maybe put some more of that on, a few more stumps, but should get rid of a few of them. So we finally got some rain today, not as much as what they were calling for, but we got a decent amount, you know, enough to knock the dust down, make it safe to burn. So it's now what time is it? 4:44 p.m. I'm gonna head back to the house. We'll come back out here, let's say 7 o'clock, and we'll see what it looks like then. All right, just had some dinner. It's only 6:15, but I figured I'd run out here, see how the fire's doing, put some more on it. Yeah, definitely need some more fuel, because what's going to happen is, I mean, it's ripping down there at the bottom, but all that small stuff is going to be gone soon. So let's put some more of that on, some more stumps on. Man, that's hot. Go from there. It is really hot, but I want to get that one stump to kind of lay over on its side, but I don't want to put my stick all the way down in there. I got an idea here. This should work. Get another bite on it here. That should do it. Kind of extend the boom. That kind of set down in there. Maybe that's what we'll do. Smash it down in there. Perfect. Perfect. You know what? I'm going to save that one right there. That one's going to come in handy. Alrighty. If I didn't have this pile of stuff right here, I would never, man, I got to get situated here. If I didn't have this pile of stuff, I'd never get these burned up. I didn't have high expectations, but I figured, you know, because I'm just going to bury what's left. But I figure whatever I can burn, I'm that far ahead of the game, you know? Have you guys seen gold prices? $3,600 an ounce. I went back and looked. I did a video talking about gold and inflation there. Oh, it was December, end of December 23. And at that time, gold prices were about right at $2,000 an ounce, and it's up to $3,600. It's crazy. I want to get a bunch in here as quick as I can. We'll put 3 or 4 more stumps on it and let her cook for the night. get two here. Oh yeah. Alright, this is going to be the last piece. It's getting super hot. I don't like sitting this close to this. Because in here you can't tell how hot the outside of the machine is getting. We're going to bail. We're going to bail. This very well could be the best fire that I ever had. That thing's cooking. What I'm gonna do, tomorrow morning I'll come out here, put some more of this stuff on, those last couple stumps I have right here, and once it burns down just a little bit, I need to take the excavator over to the neighbor's clearing job, and we're gonna light that pile up tomorrow morning and get all that burned up as well. They're calling for a little more rain the day after tomorrow, so that should work out in our favor. Get everything burned up. I can finish that clearing job at the neighbors, cut the driveway in, and then I'll come back over here and finish getting the site ready for the new building. Not only did this rain help me out doing this kind of stuff, but for the last 2, maybe even 3 weeks, I've been sneezing and coughing, and I knew it was just because of the dust and being so dry, allergies and all that. Today we had that rain. I feel totally fine. One day after all of that, all I needed was some rain. All right, it is first thing in the morning. All right, we're gonna head out here, put some more wood on the fire, a few more stumps, and then we're gonna run over to the neighbor's clearing project and hopefully get that fire going as well. Go walk over here, see what it looks like after burning all night. I'm sure the stumps are still there, but they're probably a lot smaller. Oh yeah, that's incredible. Remember what that looked like last night? What we're gonna have to do is kind of move these out of the way and then put some more of that stuff down there, stumps back on top. Looks good. There's a deer watching me again. There's a doe and 2 fawns over there. But I got this going. That'll get ripping here in a little bit. And I'm gonna head over to the neighbors, get that fire started, and we'll check on this later on. All right, I got the fire going, then I went back and got the excavator. By the time I got over here, the center was pretty much burnt out already. So here I'm just kind of collecting things, tossing a few stumps on there. We got a good hot fire. Once the fire's going, everything gets a lot easier. You're only handling things once or twice instead of 2 or 3 times. This is a little maple tree right here, maybe 12 inches in diameter. It's not real big. With these ones, I'll just spend a couple minutes breaking a few of the roots on both sides, give it a shove, try to knock some dirt off of it. What's nice about it being dry, the one good thing is, as you can see, you drop that tree 5 or 6 times, you can get most of the dirt falls right out of it. Then I'll kind of get the tree in position. Neighbor Cliff's going to come over. He's going to cut the stump off, and then he will cut the top off. And we are saving some of the firewood, just the bigger firewood poles. There's a lot of firewood, though, that's going right into the burn pit just because of time. It would take a very long time to go through all of that, and it's just much, much quicker. And like I always say, you know, our most valuable resource is our time. We all only have so much of it, and that's why we do this. I get so many comments about that. You waste so much firewood. Yes, maybe I do, but I save a lot of time. And to me, my time is more valuable than the time spent saving a little bit of firewood. But we got down to a pretty good system here today, burning all this stuff. And I timed it. We got about 6 trees an hour. I mean, if you had big equipment, you'd be a lot faster than that. But we were able to knock them over, cut them up, get them in the fire, about 6 trees per hour. Now, that's like a 12-inch tree. Once you get to the ones that are like 15 inches or bigger, it's a whole different world. I have one here later on. I mean, I've got over an hour in getting that tree down and topped out. 1 tree per hour for the big ones. And a lot of these over here, you have like a cherry and a maple growing right next to each other, almost right into each other. And you have 2 stumps in one, and they can be kind of challenging. And you got to watch when you're pushing them over. You know, make sure that they stay together and go where you want. Most everything that I've taken down so far, I've been able to push exactly where I want. I did have one that was a double. It had just a mind of its own. It pretty much went sideways, literally. But, you know, it didn't hurt anything, but it kind of surprised me. It was kind of a wake-up call, really, because you think you got it figured out, and you could have one real big root on one side that'll just turn that whole tree on you. And that's why you always make sure nobody's around when you're doing this kind of stuff. Cliff's real good. He knows when to come in with the saw and then when to get out of the way. You know, that's what you want. You don't want someone standing around where you're working because these trees are long. You know, you're watching what you're doing. Well, 40, 50 feet away, the end of that tree could be hitting someone if you're not both paying attention. But this is the driveway area right here. That's what we're working on today. There's a little cherry, not much to this one at all. But as you can see, I decided to come back and take 2 for 1. Look at that. There's hardly any dirt at all on those roots. The cherries are so much better. easier, I should say, than the maples. The maples, thousands of tiny, small little roots, where the cherries, they have some strong roots, but there's not as many of them, and they're bigger, and it's much easier to shake that dirt out. And what we do here, we start to get on a good system here. Just keep moving it all into a pile, grab the next tree, and you're making a pile as you go, so you can grab it with the excavator. But you'll see here, Cliff's topping this, and that's all in the same area. Then I just move it over, keep doing that, and then I can grab almost all of it in one shot. So that's like, I don't think I get this all. Yeah. That'll be 2 trips to the burn pit, basically 1 trip per tree. So that's pretty fast. I am going to bring the skid loader over probably tomorrow and start kind of cleaning things up. And it's faster and can carry more to the burn pit. But the fire, you get that thing going, you have to let it ride for a little bit. You don't want to be trying to put brush on it when that thing's just ripping. But it's burning fast. So, you know, you just have to let it burn down a little bit so you don't catch your machine on fire. But I can't emphasize enough how much work it is clearing trees. I just can't. I mean, it's a lot of work. My machine is kind of small for this kind of work. It's a 13,000-pound excavator. But you just take your time and dig out the roots and you can get them. But jobs like this are tough because if this was a 30 or 40 acre site, you know, you'd have big land clearing equipment, maybe a big chipper, a big mulcher, a big excavator, but you can't bring all that stuff. You can't justify bringing all that stuff in for an acre and a half, you know? So we'll do this whole thing with the excavator and the skid loader, and it takes time. It does. And you have to be careful. I can't quit talking about that enough. There's a lot of things that can go wrong for both you and the guy on the ground if you're not paying attention. You got to pay attention. I like when we get to the point where we get a whole bunch of brush and then Cliff will just get completely out of the way and I can just kind of cruise with the machine, and it's one less thing to worry about, not having anybody, you know, around you when you're doing it. But yeah, like right there, there's a lot of good firewood right there. But like I said, we're doing about 6 trees an hour like this. If you're cutting that up for firewood, what are you going to get? 6 trees a day? You know, if you're cutting all the little limb wood and all that stuff down. That's a tree I took down, I think, the day before. So every once in a while, I'll just load up the fire and then we just take a break for a little bit. Maybe take down 1 or 2 big ones, but you don't want to make a mess. You just kind of got to go at the pace of your fire. That seems to work best for us. All right, it is first thing in the morning. We're headed back over to the clearing job, and had a little bit of rain last night, which is good. Should help keep the dust down a little bit, make it a little safer to burn. First thing I'm going to do is kind of pull in all the sides of this fire, get it ripping again. But we had a pretty good day yesterday. Got all punched through to the road. Now I just need to start widening everything out a little bit all the way around. It's coming out good. I've got wrapped up in this so far right at 17 hours. That's 2.5 hours with the mini skid mowing everything, and the other 14.5 hours with the excavator. So basically 2, you know, long days. Starting to save some decent sized firewood poles. We haven't been saving much, just didn't want to take, you know, all that time. Later today I'll probably bring the skid loader over with the big grapple on it. Some of these stumps that I have pulled out are real big.